So, Candace,
Yes.
we are excited about getting you started, the Fast Start Planner. Candy, this is arguably the most important part of the process in Primerica. Okay, as it says here, a step-by-step guide to getting your business and income off to a fast start. Obviously, I know that that's what you want to do. We want to get the business rolling. We want to get your income obviously moving as well. Because of the time we have, we won't cover everything today, but what we're going to cover, I want you to make sure that you take really good notes. All right, everything needs to be taken in the planner, okay, because you need to take this everywhere with you. All right, this is your Primerica Bible. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, welcome to Primerica. Dream it, plan it, do it. A lot of people get really excited, okay, and we put a dream out there. Then we're going to take some time and actually put it on paper, plan it out, okay? That's going to separate you from most people right there, the fact that you took your dream and we put it on paper. But you really want to separate yourself, and we got to go do something about it. We got to take action on it, okay? Everybody gets really excited, but very few take time and put a plan in place, and a lot fewer take time and take action on it. So if you just do these three, you'll separate yourself from the mass majority of people, okay? Now, important info, numbers. Listen, Lifeline, okay? You ever seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
Yes, on that show, if you have a question, you call your Lifeline. I'm your Lifeline, okay? Lifeline and Upline are synonymous. They mean the exact same thing. There's no such thing as you're calling me too much. It's not too early. It's not too late. All right? If I answer, I can talk. All right? If I don't, I'll get back with you as quick as I can. But you're never bothering me to call. Okay? So go on and write, your upline. That's me. So go on and write our name there, and you need to have my cell phone number. You got my number here, and you got Brittany's number here, because I'm going to do the mass majority of your field training, in addition to possibly some other field trainers in our base shop. But Brittany's going to help make sure you get licensed. So she's going to focus on the licensing side. I'm going to focus on the training side. And you have access to Tammy Williams, our office manager, and then Taylor Sims, who's kind of the relationship manager. So you have a great support system right here that's going to help you move through the training and licensing process. Okay, so you want to make sure you take full advantage of all the opportunities. The conference calls we have, all of that stuff is laid out right there. We want you to make sure you take full advantage of that. Okay. Getting rolling, I want you to make sure, if you have not already done that, that we download the Primerica app.
I have.
Okay, great, okay. Lifeline, red light, green light. Think about this. And every time we take a trip, in most cases, if you're in a decent sized city, you're gonna come in contact with a traffic light, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, if the light is red, does that mean that that's a sign from God that you don't need to take the trip?
No.
Obviously not, right?
No.
So what happens is, a lot of times in Primerica, folks kind of start running into some challenges, and they get a little worked up and discouraged when that's not, you don't need to get like that, okay? We're telling you now there'll be some red lights. It's a part of the process, okay? My job is to help turn the lights green for you. So when you come in contact with a red light, you need to pick the phone up, you need to call me. For instance, if we start setting some appointments, because of the people who we should be calling and because of what you should be saying, we should be able to set several appointments. If somebody on that list of family, friends says no, it's probably because you said something wrong, which means I don't want you to run the red light and keep making phone calls. I want you to call me, and I can tell you what we need to be saying to set an appointment. Does that make sense? I'm going to help turn the red light into a green light. Make sense? Now, as long as you're setting appointments, that's green light. Keep going. Okay? Now, I just use the example of appointment setting, but that applies to, everything that's happening in the business. Okay? That's just going to probably be an initial thing that you deal with. Keep the keys. Okay? If you walked in here and you say you walked down this hallway and it had a bunch of different doors and all the doors were locked, would it be intelligent on your part to try to use brute force and knock the door down? No, it'd be a lot more intelligent for you to pick up the phone and call somebody with the keys. And guess who has all the keys?
My upline.
Exactly. So I got the keys. Now, what I'm not going to do, Candy, when you get to a locked door, I'm not going to say, oh, I can't believe it. All right, where are you at? All right, I'll be over there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, hey, I'm glad you called. If you need anything else, I'll be there as quick as I can. When I get there, I'm not just going to open the door either, because that's going to defeat the purpose of teaching you. Right? So we're about to go through a field training process. So what I'm gonna do when we get to the doors, I'm gonna say, look, Candy, this is the key for this door. This is how we open this door. Here, show me you know how to do that. And then I'm gonna say, okay, here's a copy of that key, so when you get back to that door, you better open it on your own. All right? See, there's a lot of different doors you have to learn how to open, how to set an appointment, okay? How to do an appointment, how to close business, all different types of business, how to recruit people. And so you'll learn all this stuff as we go, all right? But, you know, don't worry. If you get to a locked door, somebody has the key, all right? So that's what we got on the front end. Lifeline, red light, green light, keeper the keys. These apply to your entire Primerica life. So once you get licensed and trained, doesn't mean that you don't, you know, that you no longer have access to calling me. You definitely do. You probably need to call even more at that point, okay? So just want to remember that getting rolling, all right? You should have a very good understanding, and you'll also be legal to do our business, okay? So you can put August down there. That's our goal for your first full month with a license. And this is a key question. If you put a star next to number 3 and underline the word accountable, will you allow your upline to help hold you accountable?
Absolutely.
Okay, think about this. This is not a job, so you never get a phone call from me, Candy, why you didn't do that? You didn't set, you know, that's not our relationship, okay? The phone call you might get is gonna say, now, Candy, you said you want to make $2,000 in August, okay? We're in the first week of July, we hadn't gone on any training appointments yet. Now, all I wanna know is, do we need to increase your effort, or do you wanna decrease the goal? Because I just wanna play a part in your success. So you let me know and we'll move accordingly, all right? So that's the phone call that we'll get, because my job is to help you hit your goal.
Right.
Okay? But it's also to hold you accountable to what it's going to take to hit your goal. Okay? So personal goals. Now, what we need to do is we need to finalize and complete your financial needs analysis, your personal game plan, so we can make sure we have this stuff in place. Because as we go start seeing some people, you know, they're going to look and say, this is great. And as great as my presentation could be, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, Candy, what do you have? All right? So you got to be able to say, well, yeah, this is great, and this is my program, and this is what we've set up for ourselves, and that's going to add that much more credibility. Does that make sense? Plus, it's just the right thing to do. Now, this page, arguably the most important page in the entire book, because everything we do revolves around, all your success revolves around building district leaders in our business, okay? And we got to get you trained and licensed and promoted to district and then productive. We got to get you trained, licensed, promoted to district, and productive. Everything around Primerica is based on that right there. So trained, field training process, 85316. This is the accelerator for your success in business. The amount of times, Candy, that you do this every month is going to determine how much success you have, how many people we help, how much money you make, how fast, how many people we recruit. It determines everything, okay? So 8 qualified KTs, a KT, a kitchen table appointment with someone in their home, okay? Preferably in their home, okay, unless there's extenuating circumstances, all right? And when we say macho, what we mean is this right here. Married or divorced, 25 to, we probably could say really it's 25 to 65. Children that are 18 or under, homeowners, or they've lived in the area for 3 or more years, and they got a job. If they meet any 4 out of these 5 criteria, they're considered macho. Okay. They're considered a KT. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I was single, was 24, had no kids, had no mortgage, and really I had no job when I got in. So I was not a kitchen table appointment. They did a recruiting appointment with me, okay? But so they didn't see me at the prime time, and we'll get into that in a second of when you see kitchen table appointments. But back to this, macho market, if it's not 4 out of these 5, it does not count in that 8. Okay. Out of these 8, all of them need what we do. All of them need what we do. That's just the reality. They all need it. That doesn't mean they all let us help them. 5 of them going to want a financial game plan, okay? 3 of them are going to actually follow through and become clients. And from every client we get, we should get a minimum of 5 to 10 referrals, okay? So think about this. We're going to take your list and we're going to do what with it during training? Expand it, all right? 1 recruit. So somebody from the macho market is going to be a recruit. Now remember, I wasn't even in the macho market and I was a recruit, right? But somebody from the macho market is going to be a recruit. They're going to say, you making how much money? You ain't putting but 8 hours a weekend? Yeah, I need to get with you, Candy, right? And then 6 of them, we're going to do some, security sales, because for every 1 life sale, we should close a minimum of 2 investments with that client, minimum. Okay. We should do legal protection with them, help set up a will for them. So think about it, 85316. Now, as a brand new person, what I'm going to focus on you doing, you see that asterisk next to field training? All right? Candy, you know how to swim, right?
Yep.
Okay. Did you learn by reading a book or by getting in the water?
Getting in the water.
That's how you're going to learn how to do Primerica. Okay, we got to get in the field, okay? So you see that asterisk? We need to complete a minimum of 2 cycles of this during the first 30 days. Because in doing so, how many presentations you have seen? 16 of the exact same thing, all right? And what your job is going to be on these appointments, Candy, is to make sure that you are taking notes on every appointment and writing down 10 questions on what? Every appointment. Now, if you see 16 appointments and you write down 10 questions on every appointment, that's 160 questions, right? You think you're going to learn how to make the presentation after that? Lord, I hope so, right? We might have another problem if you don't do that, right? So 10 financial game plans, 6 clients, a minimum of 30 referrals, but it'll probably be closer to 60 referrals, okay? So 6 life clients, right? At least 2 recruits from the what? Macho market, but that's not including, you probably get another 1 or 2 recruits that aren't in the macho market like I wasn't, okay? So we should have at least 3 or 4 recruits for you by then, and then we'll have closed some other things. Now, what I want you to do, if you have not already done it on POL, is watch the videos for legal protection, for auto and home, for debt solutions, because even during training, you can make money from marketing these things just by sitting down and watching me make the presentation during training, okay? So we'll make sure we get that set up for you. So we got to get you 6 life insurance training sales, 3 recruits, okay, all right, and we have classroom training on, we have it laid out right here. We got classroom training on Tuesday nights. You came up to the op last night. That's every Tuesday night at 7 p.m., okay? Brittany does a life study call on Wednesday nights. Tonight. Okay, right, tonight. And I think you were on the one on Sunday, okay? And then she has another one on Sunday. That's actually 10 p.m. now, okay? And then that one is at 9:30, okay? Yep, so you have that for your folks. And then on Saturday, we have Saturday training up here, okay? Now remember, this ain't a job, so none of it's mandatory, but if you want to accelerate your success, all right, you probably want to be present for as much of this stuff as you can be present for, right? So Tuesdays and Saturdays, those are the 2 physical meetings that we have here at the office that are scheduled primarily to, for part-time agents, okay?
Now, is this the one to get me ready to be licensed?
No, the licensing class, that's what we're about to talk about in a second, okay? Good question. All right, so we got the classroom training. We have these seminars. For instance, we got one coming up in July. I mentioned it last night. Well, we have these 2 speakers come in. All right, we got another one coming in September. You want to make sure that you're, as best you can, available for these things, because all it is more examples of success from even outside of our city, okay? POL, Primerica Online, you're paying $25 a month for that. Take full advantage of it. You can spend an hour every day on this site for a year. You couldn't get through a third of the information you have access to on this. At the same time that you're getting trained, we got to get what? Licensed. IBA, the 99, the 25, and then certifications online, like I told you, so you'll be certified to make money in the legal protection, the auto and home. All you do is watch some videos, okay? Answer a couple questions and you'll be certified to do it, all right? And then insurance class. Now, if this is the most exciting 20 hours of your life, you probably had a pretty boring life, okay? But understand that this is a part of the process, and they're gonna prepare you to be ready to take the test, all right? Now, we rather you go to class. If for whatever reason you can't make a Saturday and a Sunday, then you can do it online, but our goal is to help you knock it out in class and then follow up with 2 of Brittany's calls, and you should be ready to test.
Oh, wow.
Okay? All right, so you come out of class on Sunday, you'd be on Brittany's call Sunday night. Wednesday, you on a call again. You've been studying the whole time. You should be ready to test by Friday at the latest, the next Monday. Okay, so that's our goal. The 124 paid for both of these. Your 99 and 120 and $25, that paid for your insurance license and your investment license. Once you get promoted to district leader, once you got the 6 training sales, the 3 recruits, you pass your test, you're promoted to district leader. I'm gonna show you how we can get that done in 4 weeks. Okay. All right, that's our goal. From that point, we're gonna have another conversation about what you wanna make happen with this. If you really wanna hammer it down and really go build some people, if you just wanna kind of stay, nice part-time, real part-time district and just kind of work it when you wanna work it. But that's gonna be on you. That's gonna be your decision based on us going through this process, okay? So remember this, 8531, you through 2 of these cycles, that's about 4 appointments a week. That's what our goal is as a brand new person, getting you rolling. So we want to start next week, getting you in the field, getting in front of some people. All right, now let's go through the promotion guidelines, okay? Right now, if you got a license, you'd be a rep. I hope you don't make a lot of money at that level though. I'm gonna show you why. A rep's on a 25% contract. So you can go on and fill that in, okay? And our goal, as we just talked about, is to get you promoted to what?
District.
District leader. That's a 50% contract. So we double your pay, all right? Okay. Based on getting how many training sales?
I'm leasing to get 6.
6, right? And how many recruits?
3.
3, all right? And you got to get licensed. So when you get this, and you pass your test, you're a district leader. My goal for you is to help you get 6 training sales, obviously, and 3 recruits, because when you get that done in the first, and you got to pass your test. You get that done in the first 30 days, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You'll get an upgraded special district promotion at our next event, at the next major event we have. All right. You also have your name prominently displayed on our wall of distinction, which is right out in the kind of the welcome area. We got all of that going on, and think about this. Why do I want you to be a district leader, Candy, in the first 30 days? Well, let me ask you, when you get your license, would you rather be on a 12.5% contract or 50? 50. 50. Would you rather be untrained where you don't know anything because you hadn't gone on any appointments, or at least have a basic understanding and be pretty well trained? Right. All right. 0 recruits or 3 or more? Yeah, I know this seems simple, but I'm going to tell you why I'm asking, okay? 30 names is 75 or more. All right. Rep or district, not get a bonus or get a bonus. This is why we got to get you in the field fast. Because if we want to be on a district contract when you get your license, we got to get what it takes to get on a district contract. If you've seen me make this presentation 16 times in the next 30 days, you'll be pretty well trained. We're going to have some recruits for you. I can't get recruits if we don't get in front of people to recruit them. Make sense? Right. But think about this. When I get you these recruits, even if you're trained and promoted to district, you're probably not in a position to start training them yet, right? So who's going to help train your people? Me. So who's licensed by that point? You are. They're not, though. So when we go in the field with your recruits, guess who we got to split the sales with? You, even though you aren't there. Okay. I'm going to take your recruits in the field, train them to help you build your team, and when we close business with them, because you followed the system, you'll better reap the benefits financially from that, okay? All right, 75 or more names, because every time we help a client, we're going to get what? Referrals. So whatever your list looks like before we get training, it's going to be double, triple that after training, because we're going to get referrals for you and expand that list. Obviously, you'll be on a district contract and you'll get the bonus. So that's why we want to get you rolling in the first 30 days. Now understand, when you get this life license, that also will have you in a position to be able to do some fixed annuities. But we need to work on getting that securities license as soon as we get the life license, because we say buy a term and invest the difference, right? Or invest to make a difference, right? So our job is to make sure that we help get the securities business going as well. Remember, when you watch these videos, that'll certify you to be able to make money in these areas right out the bat. Okay? So we've talked about district leader. 6 training sales, 3 recruits, go past the test, you're promoted to district. Okay? The next thing is division leader. That's a 60% contract. And in order to go to division leader, the total number of direct recruits is we need to get you 6 directs. Now think about this, Candy. You're direct to Brittany and I. Okay? When I recruit you somebody, they're direct to you. They're not direct to me. They're part of my team, but they're not direct to me. Okay. Does that make they're direct to you? Okay. We got to get you 6 directs, and out of those 6, we got to help one of those folks get the district leader. So 1. Now, remember what I said earlier. Every promotion in Primerica is based on how well you duplicate district leader. Does that make sense? Everything's based on that. So once you become a district, we need to go build some districts, right? Okay. So we build you 1 district. We need to have at least 3 people licensed on your team, including you, so 3 licenses. And minimum production, we'd like you to do about 5,000, recruit 5 people as a team in order to get that production. Okay, so let me tell you what that 5,000 and 5 recruits means, okay? All right, think about this. 5,000 and 5 recruits. You help one client with a sale like this, how much is that?
Okay, 1,000.
1,000. So you and your whole team help 5 people in a month like that, and we recruit 5 people on your team for you, for the whole team, then you get the promotion. That shouldn't be that tough.
out of the entire team?
Exactly.
The entire team has to, okay, so
right.
we should be able to do that.
Yeah, you could do that by yourself, actually,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
All right? I know folks
and
that
if one person did it, it's okay.
it's
just as long as the
perfectly
team-
okay. I mean, I know folks that have done that in a week by themselves. And we'd like you to turn what we call turn your U4 in as well. That means that we're starting to get you U4. That once you get life license, our goal is to help you start getting securities license.
Okay.
And once you knock that out, you got to turn your U4 in so we can move towards the securities licensing process as well.
Okay.
Okay? Now, regional leader, 70% contract. I've seen people make $20,000 a month at that level, okay, in a month. So in order to get that done, total direct recruits, we got to have a minimum 9 or more directs. All right, 3 of those people need to be district leaders. We like you to have a team total of about 10 licensed agents or more, 10 plus licenses, okay? And, you know, minimum production, we like you to hit 10,000 and 10 recruits on the way to getting that promotion, okay? And we'd like you to be securities licensed. That's what a regional leader promotion, a solid regional leader promotion looks like, okay? But you see, it comes down to building what?
District.
District leaders. Everything is about district leaders. Before you can build one, you got to become one. RVP, 110% contract, plus we get monthly bonuses, okay? That could be 10%, 20%, depending on how big your business is. It could be more than that, okay? And then as an RVP, the number of active district leaders that you're building, 6, minimum, 6 plus. 6 plus active direct districts that you've built, okay? Minimum licenses, at least 25, minimum. And we're talking about the minimums. You can exceed these, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, the last promotion that we just made, at this level, he did 70,045 recruits and had 35 people licensed on his team before he took this promotion. All right, but that's why he also had such a successful first month as a regional vice president. Make sense? Minimum production, we'd like you to do 20,000, 20 recruits in back-to-back months. That's minimum once again. All right, we have some division leaders that do that, but you know, that's what we'd like you to hit on your way to going out a couple months back-to-back. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we got that done. Now, obviously, I know you've already done your list. You've already started the list, okay? What we really need to make sure we do is, you know, do the champ part of that. Now, we're not going to do that right now, but that's definitely something once we leave that I want you to make sure you get done and we can, you know, start setting recruiting appointments with some of these people. And if they're in the kitchen table macho market, we can start setting some KTs with them. Who are the 3 most competitive people that you know? Who are the 3 most hardworking people you know? Who are the 3 most ambitious people, 3 most motivated people, and the 3 people with the best people skills? And I want this to be 15 different people.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if they also happen to be in the macho market, you know, if Champ and Macho go on top of each other, those are the first people we need to go see, Candy.
Kitchen table.
Does that make sense? Exactly. We need to set a KT with those folks. If, for instance, I hope I would have been on somebody's list on all of these things, okay? But I wouldn't have been on the Macho list. So they would have done a recruiting appointment with me during the day or whenever they could get to me.
Okay.
Not during the prime time. Make sense? All right? So you won't go to division unless you build one what?
At least one district.
You won't go to regional unless you build 3 what?
Districts.
You won't go to RVP unless you build 6 what?
Districts.
You won't go to SVP unless you show 3 people how to build. It all comes down to building districts. At every level, it's about how many people are going to districts. So before we can build one, we need to become one. Okay? And then we can make a determination of where we want to go from there. I want you to read through this pre-qualification for district division. You say pre-qualified because think about it. We're talking about you getting to this promotion as or even before you getting licensed. Now, and it's really as because I don't want it to be before. I want you to do both of them at the same time.
Okay.
But when you pass your test, you should be a district. Okay? You should be on that 50% contract. If we got somebody on your team that's moving see who's in the macho market. We'll do that in a second, okay? I want you to watch, learn, see, and succeed. So when we go on these appointments, you never come on an appointment without your notebook and a pad, okay? Because remember, you're supposed to be taking notes and writing down questions on every single appointment so we can duplicate this and get you where you know how to do it. You want to show up Listen to all the audios and all the stuff that you'll have access to on Primerica Online and on the app. You want to listen to all of that. You want to read. I'm going to start giving you some stuff. First, it's just going to be some of the brochures, all right? You'd be surprised by how few people actually take time to read through the brochures and get a very clear understanding of what they're getting involved with. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it happens, okay? And then be positive, all right? Because sometimes we'll show up to people's house and they will have forgotten, okay? Sometimes you tell somebody to tell you they come into the meeting and they don't show up. That's a part of the process here. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's your part. My part is helping you get, recruit at least 6 or more people, all right? Helping you get 6 training sales, helping you get a great understanding of the business, help you build your team, and help you earn your promotion. And I want you to get promoted to district as you're getting licensed, okay? All right, so we got that. We went through the comp. This is probably one of my favorite pages, all right, in this book. Keys to success. Most important, what does it say?
Be coachable.
And don't say be chokeable, right? Okay,
Coachable.
okay. So always have a positive attitude. That's obviously a lot easier said than done, okay? But it's critically important. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Have a plan of action. Look, when it talks about having a positive attitude, this is what I want you to do. You write it down. Draw an arrow out to the side of positive attitude, and I want you to write SW 4 times in capital letters. SW, okay? Let me tell you what that stands for. Some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. You better adopt that as a mentality for success in this business. All right, but otherwise you're going to take everything personal and you're going to have a tough time having success. Some will join, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. Some will buy, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. Some will show up to the meeting, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. Next, okay? So have a plan of action, and then we got to maintain constant activity. Underline that word right there. Work the plan. Now, I don't need 40 hours, but we need a consistent 8, 10, 12 hours a week. And if you decide you want to do more, that's on you. That's great. But at least until we get you to district, let's make sure that we put this 8, 10, 12 hours a week in consistently so we can get you to district. Then we make a determination of what route you want to take at that point. Make sense? So think about this. Brittany and I are moving forward. We're having success. And it takes the same thing for us to move to whatever that next level of success is for us as it's going to take for you to go to district leader. Now, that should be pretty exciting, right? There's only 5 things that you got to plug in the pipeline of success in order for you to have success at Primerica. For instance, think about this. If this was a pipe and I put this in the pipe, should I expect something to come out?
Got to keep pushing, don't you?
There you go.
Push.
There you go. Because see what happens in Primerica, somebody puts something in a pipe and they go run over here and say, well, it didn't, well, Primerica must not work. And it's actually not Primerica, it's Primerica, okay? But if they do it that way, it is Primerica, okay?
Yeah.
So what they need to do is you got to keep plugging the pipe, just like you say it. You can't expect anything to come out if you don't continually what? Plug it. And so there's only 5 things you got to plug in the pipeline, okay? The first thing, if you write it and circle it, is KTs. You got to plug KTs in the pipeline. That is probably the most important thing you plug in the pipeline. It makes the biggest difference to anything else you can plug in the pipeline. KTs with people in the macho market. The next thing, RAs, recruiting appointments or recruiting interviews, okay? That's the next thing you got to plug in the pipeline, all right? Because Coach Whittle's income jumped $1.4 million a year and a half after he recruited me, and I wasn't a KT. So you don't just discount people that aren't necessarily macho market. Okay. But at the same time, KTs are first, recruiting appointments or interviews are second, all right? All right. After that, meeting attendance. So you can just write meeting attendance. Now, you don't have to be at everything, just the next thing.
Oh. Okay.
So, once again, right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the day that Brittany and I got married was a Saturday, August 1st. Okay, guess what? Saturday training was that morning. I was at Saturday training. Now, people say, well, that's crazy. That was at 5 p.m. Training was at 9 a.m.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, what else, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is it was important enough to be there. She understood that. I understood that. I mean, but it was that important, okay? A lot of times people say, well, I stubbed my toe. I can't come to, well, I mean, how do they expect to excel when they're not engaged and showing up? Makes sense? All right. So what you're going to get at these meetings is even more than just motivation, is real training. That's how you're going to learn. You're going to learn the business in the field and build it at the meetings.
Got it.
Okay, you're gonna learn it in the field and build it at the meetings, okay? So, kitchen tables, recruiting appointments, meeting attendance. The next thing, a positive attitude. You say, Collis, you already said that. Yeah, it's important enough to say it again. You better plug that in the pipeline, okay? And then the last thing, Candy, is self-improvement, SI, okay? You obviously are an amazing person. You have probably already figured this out in your lifetime, though. You will never get to whatever the next level is without becoming a better version of you. Right. So what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Even who you're hanging around goes down to self-improvement, because the power of association is as powerful as the power of disassociation. All right? Power of association. So you might have disassociated from some people for a period of time, right? So self-improvement. What are you reading? What are you listening to? And that's why we give you audios. That's why we give you books and stuff to read, so we can help take you to another level, so you can be, a higher level of leader, so more people will follow you, right? So this is what gets plugged in, and what comes out over here, and it's going to trickle out. You notice there's a lot more that gets plugged in than what comes out, right? But some money. And at first it'll come out in the little form of bonuses, and then all of a sudden you won't even be working, and you'll start getting money coming in, and as we build a team, but money, all right? Then it'll be promotions. You start getting their promotions. That'll come out of here. All right. Then you start getting recognition. You've been in our office. You see how much stuff we got all over the place, right? Everywhere. You start getting recognition at the event. So promotions, recognition, and ultimately financial independence. What we call financial independence, where it means you have enough money where you can basically, if you don't want to do anything, you don't have to. But that comes with working for a period of time, saving your money, doing the right things, practicing what we preach, and putting yourself in that position. But that's what you got to plug in the pipeline. And the more that comes in, the more that goes out. So we got the schedule. You see what the schedule is. On Mondays, we also have our managers meeting. The reason that this is not in bold is because most folks, if they got a job, they can't come to that stuff. So we just let them know that it's available if they ever are in a position to come. But Tuesday, Saturday are the main two things we want folks coming to. Plug-in theory, all right? See that TV? If I unplug that TV, what would happen? If it was on and then I unplugged it, it'd go off. That's what happens if you unplug from our environment. Okay. Now, there's not a lot of places where, would you agree, that people are talking about, people making $100,000, $500,000, $1 million. That's not a normal conversation, right? Well, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about doing, it with whomever wants to do the work, right? You want to stay plugged into that environment. Okay. Think about this charcoal theory. If the coals were in the fire and we took the coals out, what would happen to the coal? This is going to go out, all right? Now, if we only took one coal out, the fire would keep burning, but this coal would go out. This environment is on fire, okay? You don't need to be the coal that falls on the side over here and ends up going out. That's why you want to stay around the heat source, okay? And this is the heat source. Push point theory, okay? You grow your business by pushing from meeting to meeting. We got to focus on how many more people do we have at the next meeting than we had at this meeting. Okay, that is how you grow your business. You learn it in the field, but you build it at the meetings. Okay, so that's a perfect lead into this next page. Learn the business in the field. So 1 hour in the field is worth 10 hours in the classroom. Think about this. Appointments. Based on us, Candy, getting in the macho market. Okay, we know what that is. Now think about this. During week 1. At a minimum, we need to get on what?
4.
4 per week, at a minimum. Now, we're going to set some appointments that something happens, life happens, come up, they forgot this, all that crap's going to happen. So you better set 8, so put 8 over here.
But hope for 4.
But 4 is going to have 4. If you set 8, we definitely going to get on 4. It makes sense? And your job on these 4 KTs as a trainee is to do what? Take really good
notes
and write down at least
10 questions
on every appointment. So it means you're going to ask me 40 questions about the exact same presentation in the first week. Lord knows. Okay, you should be ready by then, right? So we plug that into the pipeline. So I want you to think about the plug-in theory. We just plug that in the pipeline. What's going to come out? Well, guess what? We're going to get you 1 training sale. Okay, now how many training sales we got to get you promoted? 6. And how many recruits?
3.
3. The next week, we focus on doing how many appointments?
8 again.
We focus on doing 4, so we better set 8. I'm going to let you write that down. We focus on doing 4, so we better set 8. And what's your job on those appointments? Take
Sales.
notes.
Oh yeah, take notes.
Well, yeah, you
10
said we just make
questions.
sales. You ain't gonna make them. I'm gonna make them
Yeah,
for
you
you.
make 'em for
You're gonna be taking notes, right?
Right.
And we're gonna get 2 training sales. Okay.
Getting better.
Exactly. So watch this. 8 appointments leads to 3 training sales. And my job when I get these sales is to then get you at least 5 to 10 referrals. So if we can make 3 sales, you're gonna have at least 30 referrals and 1 recruit. We're gonna get 1 recruit from the what market? Macho market. That's not including if we recruit somebody not in the macho market, right? So we got 3 training sales. We got you a recruit. We've gone on 8 appointments. That's 8, 5, 3, 1.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That's the system working. And you've asked me 80 questions about the exact same presentation. Now you probably went to class right during this week right here. So you should be studying that week and be ready to knock it out this week.
Okay.
Make sense?
Third week.
So that 3rd week we should be ready to knock the test out, but we also need to keep getting on what? Kitchen table appointments. So you better set how many that week?
4.
8 to get on 4. You got to set 8 to get on 4. Another 1 training sale. We're going to get a recruit during that week though. So we got 2 recruits now. We got 4 training sales. We got 40 referrals waiting on you, ready for you. And you've seen the presentation 12 times and asked 120 questions. You should be ready by then, right?
Right.
So let's say you knock the test out
Right here.
right here. So it's going to take you about a week to get appointed, okay? On this last week, what do you think we're going to do on that last week? Well, you've seen the presentation, you're licensed, and so we're going to tag team the first 2 from that week.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to do part, you're going to do part. Okay? Then the last 2, what do you think we're going to do? I'm watching you. And we're going to knock out 2 more training sales. We're going to get you your 3rd recruit. Yeah, you got it. You already counting, right?
Look at my 6.
All right, that's a 6. That's
6.
it. That's 6. And we got you your 3rd recruit. And so you got 6 and 3. And what are we going to start doing with this recruit as soon as we get them for you? Start training them. So we moving them. You're moving towards the vision as we're moving, you know, your people on, right? And as all of this is happening, you came to Saturday training. So even though you got some great field training, you're also getting some classroom training. And you came to the opportunity meeting on Tuesday night. So we're pushing more people to the meeting. So your attendance is growing, right? And so that goes back to that push point theory. We got to push them from Tuesday to a one-on-one to Saturday.
Okay.
Does that make sense? All right. I
You're
learned.
talking about my recruits now, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. It's always great when you get a new recruit to have them in a group meeting and then meet them one-on-one. And then have them in a group meeting and then meet them one-on-one. Does that make sense? See, last night you were at a what?
Group.
And now we're
Meeting.
exactly. All right. So that's what we want to continue to make it happen. So you learn the business in the field, you build it in the meetings, which is why Tuesdays and Saturdays are so critically important. Okay. Now, we submitted your IBA. So 30 days from today. Today is the, what is it?
15th.
The 15th. All right. So 30 days from today, you're designated as a rep, I mean the exact same day, but 30 days from today, we need to get you promoted to district leader. We're not really using the senior rep promotion. Our focus is getting you straight to district.
Okay.
All right. Now, how many training sales once again?
6.
How many recruits?
3.
Right. All right. And I want you to have witnessed this thing 12 to 16 times in order to make that happen. Okay, so we recruit people, take them through an orientation, get them in the field as fast as possible, which really means we need to be in the field, if we could, Friday, get on some appointments within 48 hours. Does that make sense? They got people that you can call and you can say, hey, I need to swing by there. I want to show you something that's really important to me. And that's it. You don't have to say anything else.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. Well, you need to get in the field. Then you're going to go to class. That's PFSU, Premier Financial Services University.
Okay.
All right. Has Brittany already gotten you registered for this?
Is this for
This
my
is the
class?
licensing
The
class, Saturday,
Yes,
Sunday.
I'm already
Okay,
registered.
great.
July
Then
2nd and 3rd.
great. All right. So then we're gonna make sales through the what? Field activity. Then we're gonna get referrals from the what?
The sales.
And then we're gonna contact those referrals, and it just keeps going around and around.
Right.
We already have talked about the target market. We've already talked about macho. The prime time candidate to see these type of people after work. If they're married, we will have to see husband. Look, the rules for appointments, we don't have a lot of rules. If they're married, we got to have both of them at the same time.
Right.
Don't let the dad play the I make all the decisions game, because guess what? He does not. Does that make sense? When it comes down to it, we got to have both of them present. And even if he did, she's got to be present to sign for her name because he don't have the power of attorney. Right. Make sense? So we need to have both of them present. And if there's a single parent, great. That's the decision maker. We can go see them by themselves, okay? All right, at the kitchen table, preferably at their kitchen table. Because watch this, if they're interested, and let's say they already have a policy, already have their investments, they're not going to just carry that around. That's going to be at their what? House. Mm-hmm. So if we go to their house, we can have something to kind of compare it to, okay? At least 2 per night. We talked about that. At least 4 per week. So when we say 2 per night, you don't want to set, okay, Collis, I got one on Monday, I got one on Wednesday, you don't want to do that. You're already going to be spending time away from your family. Let's try to knock out 2, 3 in a night. Okay. Or it might just be on the weekends. I've seen folks just working on the weekends. Maybe on a Saturday after training, we go knock 4 of them out. Or Sunday after church, we go knock 4 of them out, okay? But we want to try to do it in, at one time because repetition is the mother of all learning. The faster we see more happen in a short period of time, the faster you're going to pick it up, okay? So this is a great looking beginning of a list, all right? So what we need to do is we need to make sure that, how many of these people are married?
2, 3.
Oh, okay, all right, so about 6 of them. All right, so are several of these folks you're really close with?
Relatives.
Okay.
Family.
Okay, great. So you might be close with them, right? Okay. Right. Okay. All right. So put the top 3 people who, if you were going to the top 3 couples that you would want to be in business with, and that you just know are solid people that you know.
From my list.
Yep, from the list you've already made. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we qualify these folks. Then what it is, Candy, it's really important that you take the time to go finish qualifying and then send me a copy of this list. You can just snapshot it and send me a copy of it. Okay. Text me a copy of the list once you're finished with it. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of like the major homework for tonight.
All right. What again? Finish qualifying.
Finish qualifying them.
With the macho.
Right. Put the number and then snapshot it and send me a copy of it. Okay. Okay. Instead of along with making sure that you set some appointments. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in a second. So, how you say their name?
Cynthia and Wendell Grimes.
Okay. So they're married, obviously. They're married. Check that. Okay. Are they in their 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s?
50s.
50s. Okay. All right. Do they have any kids 18 or younger?
No.
Okay. Do they have a mortgage? Or they've lived in the area for 3 or more years? Check it, okay? They got jobs?
Yes.
Check, all right? So watch this. They are 4-pointers, right? They're in their 50s, all right? So they're 4-pointers. So their macho score is 4. That's good, because we say 4 or 5, right? Right. Have you known them for a year?
Yes.
You just gave me the spouse's first name. You been to their place?
Yes.
Talked to them in the last 6 months?
Yes.
Ever helped you with anything in life, ever?
Yes.
All right, so you got a good what?
Credibility.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. They're hot. We need to go see them yesterday.
Okay.
That's how we do it. Okay. Make sense? I want you to put this in here, 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, just so I have an idea of who we're going to see when we go. Okay. Okay? So, and then you can kind of put how you know them in the notes section right there. That's how you qualify. Now, I want to get a list of 25 when we're done. Okay, that's your homework tonight, so we can go start seeing these folks. Okay. All right, now think about this. As we're getting close to being done with it, appointment setting script. Let me ask you a question. If I was going to give you $1 million to jump out of an airplane without a parachute, but when you hit the ground, I'm going to give you $1 million. All right, you going to do it? Okay, wait. What about $10 million? No. Okay. All right, now it says, remember the airplane example and the $1 million. All right, the deal's off, okay? You're like, good, I wouldn't do it anyway, right? Right. But I never said we were flying. Plane could have been outside on the ground, and one of those crop duster planes, you jump out and get your $1 million, right? Okay. But I said jump, I said airplane, right? I said no parachute. You assume flight, right? So you jump to the conclusion that we must be flying because of the words that I use. That's why we have a script on these appointments, because what people do is they jump to conclusions and they make assumptions. And your mama wouldn't have jumped either if you called and you told her that, right? But she missed out on $1 million example. She missed out on a $10 million opportunity because she jumped to a conclusion. And it didn't matter that it was your mom, it was the way you said it, right? It's the same thing on appointment setting, right? Folks say, well, I can just tell my friends. No, no, no. You still need to stick to the what? Script. Because nobody would jump out if they didn't, I mean, because they're going to do what humans do, jump to conclusions and make assumptions. So think about it. When you're calling your friends, obviously you probably do this stuff naturally. You already identify yourself. Hey, how you doing? So let's just kind of role play that real quick, okay? So the phone rings, ring, 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 ring.
Hi, this is Candy.
All right, now I know that I'm your friend. You just going to answer the phone. Is that how you answer the phone? No. Okay, so I want you to do it like you're going to do it with me, okay? Right. Phone rings, ring, 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 ring.
Hey, Collis.
Hey, what's happening, Candy? You got a second?
Sure.
Good. How's Marlon doing? Mason, Marley, they good? Everybody's good?
Doing great.
Listen, I need your help. You think you might be able to help me out?
Yeah, what's going on?
All right, the reason I'm calling, I'm working with a company. Super excited about some of the things that I can accomplish with them. And I'm going through management. I got to see 15 appointments, 15 presentations made so I can learn how to do this. And I knew I could count on you and Marlon to sit down with me for 45 minutes. Okay, I just need y'all to sit down with me for 45 minutes working with this company part-time. So I just want to swing by with my manager, visit with you and Marlon, show you what I'm going to be doing. Is it better on the weekday or during the weekend? I know he worked, you know, he got a crazy schedule. Weekday, weekend, which one would be better? Weekend. Weekend. So Saturday or Sunday?
Let's do Saturday.
Okay, so afternoon or evening?
Afternoon.
Afternoon. So about 3 o'clock? He's going to be home. Now, you know, Marlon be all over the place. I need you to do me a favor right now. Put me on speakerphone while you're on the phone with me. You got me on speakerphone?
You're on.
Okay. Please put this on your calendar and then go text him and let him know he needs to be at the house for 3. Can I count on you to do that?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to have my trainer with me now, so you ain't going to make me look bad in front of these folks and I show up and you're not at the house. We good, right?
We're good.
All right, you got me on the calendar. 3 o'clock Saturday, I'll be there. Now, see, what did I do? There was a couple of different things where I kind of made sure I'm going to have my trainer. You're not going to make me look bad, right? Right? Look, put me on speakerphone so you can make sure you put this on your calendar. There's a couple of different things that what was I doing? I was getting a commitment. Does that make sense? You want to do that about 2 or 3 times. What you don't want to do, set an appointment, get off the phone, hurry up. Because that's probably going to be one of those ones that floats away. And, oh, I forgot. Oh, you know, because they just thought, well, this is my friend calling. It'll be all right. Right? But if you do it the way I just said, there's a heightened sense of awareness that like, okay, this might be kind of serious to Collis. I think I'm going to go on and make sure I put this on the calendar. Exactly. So, you know, that's what you want to do in setting appointments. But remember, red light, green light. Okay? All right? So you're going to finish your list. We're going to make some calls on I want you to call me first and act like you set an appointment with me, all right, once we get this done. And then we're going to make some calls tonight and make sure we get you some appointments set. Okay? All right, so once again, KTs are how you're going to learn how to do this business. You're going to learn it in the field. So we need to get to the process of learning it. Here are some overcoming common objections that they might come up with. But I'm going to be honest, the thing I lean on is, Candy, this Collis, I need your help. I just need your help. I just need you to give me 45 minutes. That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just give me 45 minutes.
I should get him on that one. That's
it. Just with that one alone, right? If it's something you're interested in, great. If it's not, great. I just need 45 minutes. Okay? So the rest of this, extremely important stuff, but I want you to make sure that you go back through that. Now, I love talking, why do people succeed or fail? Because a lot of folks have heard of folks coming into Primerica and out of Primerica. Well, why does that happen? Well, either they can or can't handle what?
Rejection.
Rejection. Now, that rejection is a part of the deal. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Right? Just think of this example. I'm a waiter. I walk in the diner. I ask you if you'd like some coffee. You tell me no. I go to the next person. I say, would you like some coffee? They say no. Next person says yes. Next person says no. I throw the coffee up. I take off my apron, I storm out of the place. What do you think about me? What in the world is up with them? They got, immature is a nice way to put it. Crazy is another way, right? But you think about this. That person told me no, so I couldn't deal with it, right? That's a part of the deal. I would never drink coffee. It's not personal, I just don't drink coffee, right? So it's just a matter of how you process no, okay? That's a part of dealing with rejection. Market. If you got a great market, okay, we need to make sure we take advantage of that market. And then you think about coachability, okay? From a coachability perspective, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything illegal, immoral, unethical. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it will lead to your ultimate success in the business, so you wanna remain what? Coachable. All right? We need to make sure we get Marlon where we on the same page doing this, okay? Because he's got to understand that, hey, it might be an evening during the week that we got to go on appointments. Might be, and he might have to help a little bit more. Might be a day on the weekend that you're gonna go on appointments. But as long as he's a positive influence, that's gonna be success. It's gonna help you be more successful, right? Work ethic. I'm not gonna need 40 hours a week, but we need a consistent what? 8, 10, 12 hours a week. Okay, 8 to 12 hours a week. And what we want to understand, character. I've seen people who were good at the business, but they weren't good people, so it made it a challenge for them, okay? And then goals, we got to have something that you're going after, so you won't mind going through the rejection to get what you want.
Okay.
Success is inevitable, Candy, if you do the right things long enough with the right intensity. I'm excited about getting you started.
All right.
All right.
I'm excited.
Good.